Hey food family, we are back again for another one. Today we're making smothered roast and potatoes. Sit back because I'm going to do this one step by step. Let's go. Okay, first thing you'll notice is that I have two roasts here. It's not the rump roast. I choose not to use that one because it doesn't have enough fat content for me, and I don't like tough meat, and I feel like it makes it a little bit tougher if you don't have the marbleization of the fat going through your meat. So you'll notice that I went ahead and put onion powder on there. I put pepper on there, and I'm also gonna put salt on there as well. Anytime you're working with meat, people, make sure you clean your meat. So I've cleaned my meat, I cleaned my surface, but I went an extra step and I decided to go ahead and use my glass cutting board. I rarely use it, but I decided to use it when I'm working with my meat because I just feel like the wooden cutting board just kind of leaves things to linger. It doesn't mean that it's not clean, it's just my own personal preference. So I'm going to season both sides really well. Yes, I am using my hands because I'm just that southern girl. I use my hands for everything when I'm cooking. I'm even the one, my daughter is picky in the way that she hates to use her hand to pull the stopper out of the sink because of the food that may have gathered at the bottom. Sorry, I'm that girl that will go in there, put my hand in. If you got a bowl of beans that's been sitting in the refrigerator a couple of days and you want to throw it out, I use my hand as a spoon, I dump it out, and then I just wash my hands. That's just how I am. So anyway, once you flip it over, go ahead and season the other side, rub it in. You want to make sure that all the seasoning gets into your meat and that you're not wasting. Once you have everything completely rubbed in, go ahead and take your roast and put it over into flour. We want to completely cover your roast in flour. You can choose to season your flour if you would like. I chose not to because I'm not completely frying this dish. It's actually going to go into the oven. So you'll see here that I'm just completely covering the entire roast. Once you have completely covered your roast in flour, go ahead and have your skillet ready with olive oil or whatever type of oil you'd like to use, but you want to have it hot. You want to put your roast, your covered roast that's in flour, put it into a nice hot skillet because we want to sear each side of the roast and get it a good golden brown. Basically make a crust on your roast on both sides. So once you get them both in there, go ahead and let them cook. Okay, so after approximately 5 to 7 minutes, you want to go ahead and flip it over to the next side. You should have gotten a nice crust on the first side of your roast, giving it a pretty golden brown color. Flip it over. Then we're going to do the same thing on the next side. Check out the crust that we have there from that flour. Like I said, it locks in your juices. It makes it really savory and it gives it a really good flavor. Go ahead and flip that other guy over. Gorgeous color. It has now been transferred over to our bacon dish. Let's go ahead and get our beef broth, which I am actually making mine with the Weiler's beef flavor. It's a powder that you simply mix with water. Because I use so much broth in my dishes rather than using water, I figured it's a little more inexpensive if I use the beef flavor. I think I also have the chicken bouillon flavor. This is similar to beef bouillon as well. But you simply mix that in and there you have it. It's now a beef broth. So let's go ahead and pour that over our roast. Being that this is cooking beyond measure, I do not measure this, but I do want to make sure that I am not overfilling my container with the broth. So I just want to pour it and get it halfway up the sides. Onions, your roast, and your beef broth. Go ahead and cover it with foil, and we're going to bake this in the oven at about 325 for approximately an hour before we check on it. I like mine good and tender, so that's why I say about an hour. After an hour, we're gonna go ahead and check on it and get it smothered. So that's approximately an hour, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and check on it now. Looks amazing. But what we need to do now is go ahead and get gravy going here. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and take my potatoes, add my potatoes, because I want the flavor of the gravy on my potatoes as well. My preference is to add the potatoes first. If you like to add carrots at this point, you can as well. I'm not adding carrots because I'm actually making a carrot souffle with this particular dinner. But I'll go ahead and put in my washed and chopped potatoes. And to the side, I have a bowl of, again, the beef broth, a little bit of flour, a little bit of pepper, onion seasoning, as well as, I'm sorry, not onion seasoning, onion salt, as well as garlic powder. And we're going to pour that over the top. What that does is automatically create a gravy as it is baking in the oven. And there you have it. You can actually see the color in it. So that again is my flour, water. Well, you know what, we'll say this. It's flour, beef broth, and my seasonings. If you notice, I did not season my broth earlier, but this is going to be my seasoning because you don't want that raw flour taste when you're making your gravy. All right, so we're going to mix that up. We have the seasoning all over our potatoes and our meat. Kind of mix it in. Don't let it sit stagnant. And we're going to cover this again, place it back into the oven for about another 30 or 40 minutes. Looks amazing. All right, so we are actually done at this point. This smells so good. It is so fork tender. You're really gonna love it. Leave a comment, leave a note, let me know how your roast turned out if you followed my recipe. If you're liking what you're seeing, as always, like, share, and subscribe to my channel as well. Now here, I'm gonna be just a little bit extra, as you know I always do. I'm gonna sprinkle that parsley across the top just because I feel like that's just like a new pair of red shoes when you're fixing your dishes. So I'm gonna sprinkle that parsley. I'm gonna take my pictures. You're gonna like, share, subscribe this video. Love you all so much. Thanks again for watching.